Tonight, lawyers of Ashaiman victims brutalized by military go after Armed Forces High Command as they report the death of one of the victims following high-profile Defense and Interior Committee visit to Ashaiman today. We hear from the Defense Minister, who has tonight issued a strong warning to all citizens plotting to do harm to men in uniform across the country.
Then we have members of the armed forces who feel so pained and aggrieved that the very citizens who they are supposed to protect, they are dying in their hands. A soldier swears by his life to protect you and me. If he dies protecting you and me, that is his job. So when a soldier dies in the hands of civilians,
And Top Story is always brought to you by Vodafone. There are renewed efforts tonight to calm tensions between residents of Ashaiman and the Ghana Armed Forces, with lawyers for victims brutalized by the military reporting tonight that one of those victims is dead. It comes on the day the Parliament's Defense and Interior Committee paid a visit to Ashaiman in an urgent effort to deal with the tensions that has been boiling since the military invaded the town last week. The Defense Minister himself, Dominic Nitiwo, led the delegation and issued a strong warning to all citizens plotting to do harm to men in uniform across the country.
That men and women in uniform will be killed. I didn't use the word men, that will be killed by the people they seem to want to protect. Men and women in uniform, Ghana Armed Forces, Ghana Police, Immigration, all of them will die from the hands of people they seek to protect. But this should serve as the last time that anybody in Ghana thinks that he can use force of arms to make a living. The state will not sit aloof and allow that to happen. Any Ghanaian anywhere should be able to walk freely any time of the day, even if it's midnight, 3 a.m., and go to his house without turning the back to look at what is happening. If we live in a state where I fear to go to any place because it's dangerous, then it's not a state to live in. We'll use this Ashaiman incident to take steps to address some happenings in this country. And like I said, the action that was taken, we'll address it at the appropriate time. Thank the police and the intelligence agencies for the swift action in arresting suspects in this particular matter. It's welcome news. It has brought some relief to a lot of us. And I hope that our law courts will not say that justice is delayed. Justice grinds slowly, but it will surely come. But in this case, we want justice to grind very fast. What we are doing is a fine balancing act. And trust me, it's very difficult to have a fine balancing act. Here we have citizens who are complaining, and rightly so, that they have been assaulted. Then we also have members of the armed forces who feel so pained and aggrieved that the very citizens who they are supposed to protect, they are dying in their hands. A soldier swears by his life to protect you and me. If he dies protecting you and me, that is his job. That's what a soldier is to do. So when a soldier dies in the hands of civilians, you have to have a balancing act.
Committee today when they visited Ashaiman is with me in the studio. Maxwell, we learned today from the Defense Minister that apparently the relationship between the residents of Ashaiman and the military has been something that has been tense for a while, even before the killing of this military officer. It is very possible that the killing was just a fuse to trigger this explosion that we saw in the invasion. What more do we know about this?
Exactly, Evans. He was particularly worried. He says that 1BN actually shares walls, he says, with the people of Ashaiman, and he feels that it is important for them to have a cordial relationship, but he says that appears to be fractured, and there's some kind of history to that. He says it is important for the soldiers and the residents of Ashaiman to stay in peace and allow peace to reign in their community.
This is not the first time that you have had issues with the Ghana Armed Forces. It tells me that there is a fundamental problem that we need to resolve, because 1BN is here. Michelle Camp shares boundaries with you, and they have been here since time immemorial. And Ashaiman is also here. You are going to be together for a very long time. And so, both sides must learn to live together. So, Mr. Chairman, whatever you are doing, please give me recommendations that the Ministry of Defense will use to ensure that the two communities, the military community and the Ashaiman community, can find a way of living in peace forever and ever. Mr. Chairman, wherever the military find themselves, all over the world, their best friends are the communities where they stay. In fact, criminals never come to such a community because of the presence of the military. You go to Montreux, you go everywhere. It's very difficult to see people who want to commit petty crimes come to such communities. So they are the safest of communities around the world. And for the military to be having issues with the people of Ashaiman or any other person, we will look into it to ensure that those things are dealt with and dealt with properly.
Max, also now we know this has been a long-standing problem that somehow needs to be fixed. Exactly. But then it appears that this tension is a bit more tense even today because of the revelations now we are learning from the lawyers of the victims.
Yeah.
Reporting that one of the victims may have died.
Yes, and that became a major topical point after the visit of the Defense and Interior Committee. On the floor during the discussions, this issue was not raised, but after the left, person of the person we interacted with pointed to the house of this deceased. This person, who we are told died as a result of the military invasion. We are told that he has high blood pressure, and on the day of the military invasion, he was trying to flee. He fell, and after that, he has not been well for some days and died 3 days ago.
So this is the lawyer, one of the lawyers for the victim.
One of the lawyers confirming this to us, and he has been in touch with the second wife of the deceased.
The late Ashaiman Mensah is one of the victims of the military brutalization on 7th March 2023 within Ashaiman. He was sitting at the frontage of his house, and when he saw the soldiers shouted, so they started running. It was among one of the people who were running, and he ran to enter his house. When he ran and entered the house, he fell. It's already a high pressure, hypertension pressure person. So his pressure shot up and he was admitted at the hospital. We were just informed that 3 days ago he couldn't survive. He's now with our Maker. May the peace of the Lord be with him, and our Lord take him in his bosom. So that's what happened to one of the victims 3 days ago.
I know you've been trying to double check this because also present today was a doctor, a medical doctor responsible for giving medical attention to many of the victims. I'm pretty sure you asked him about this. What did he say?
Yes. First, I asked him, this is Dr. Al-Hassan Hanif of the Tema General Hospital. First, I asked him about the condition of the persons who reported at his private facility, that's the Fisher Town Community Hospital. He told me that many of them came with lacerations on their head, their back, multiple bruises. Some of them were bleeding heavily. And then I asked him, secondly, about this reported death. He says that he has also heard about this death. He understands that there's a post-mortem underway to see if there's a link between what happened and then this new death.
Injuries specifically, some of them came, most of them lacerations, head lacerations, laceration on the upper limbs, some of them lower limbs, some laceration on the back, and some of them multiple bruises. Some of them one of them got a laceration, a female, 2 or 3 of them got a laceration on the abdomen. Yes.
How serious were these injuries?
They were serious. They were bleeding. One of them, they were bleeding severely. In fact, the first person who came around 4:30, he was bleeding heavily. So I started suturing. I was suturing him when the second person came. So they started coming. So I finished suturing around 10 a.m. in the morning. There were those who came with serious injuries, serious lacerations, there were 37 of them.
Women were part of those?
Yes. Women, some of them are sitting down there. You can see some of them. I suture all of them.
Who are also heavily brutalized?
Yes. But unfortunately, one or two of them, first batch released them to go to hospital, and they came and met the second batch. They were also beaten, yes, before they came to the hospital. Yesterday, around this time, I was reliably informed that one of them passed away, and I told the conveners that was following up to the referral point to find out the cause of death, if postmortem has been taken, and the reports, postmortem reports, so that we can get the actual cause link the death. Yesterday, yes, that's information I'm getting. But for now, I cannot say the patient died of this, cause of death is this. I cannot. But one of the victims, I was told, died yesterday, and I don't know whether I even handled this patient.
Okay, so that's the doctor they're talking about, what he knows about this. We'll try and get more clarity from the Ashaiman MP, who has been on the ground himself. But then today, the lawyers for the victims, they've been putting together the evidence.
Yes.
They are also asking for making some additional demands targeted at the military high command.
Yes, they want the military high command to be dismissed. They say that they have accepted responsibility, taken responsibility for the invasion and brutality, and they want them to be sacked. In fact, the lawyer, Imano Kumade, also revealed that some of the victims did not only suffer physical injury, some of them, now he says, cannot even have erections.
Cannot walk to this place because they were severely assaulted that they cannot walk. Some cannot have erection. The message we have on behalf of the victims here is that the dignity of every human being is the most important ingredient that makes you a human being. We are saying to the committee, and we are glad that the Minister for Defense Service here, we, the people of Ashaiman, we are tired of military brutalization. This is not the first time, this is not the second time, this is not the third time or the fourth time. So it appears that consistently the military has a beef with the people of Ashaiman. We are saying that Ashaiman people, we are peace-loving people. Enough of the brutalization by the military. Enough is enough. You have had enough. And citizens of a country should not be subjected to this type of brutalities. The minister, humbly, we are saying that all properties damaged, we've collated most of the information. We want those properties restored to their status before the damage. 2, adequate compensation for the victims. 3, all the military high command that gave the unlawful order should be dismissed immediately.
So these demands were directed at the defense minister, who was there and listening in.
Exactly.
Did he respond directly to any of them?
He didn't respond directly to this. In fact, what we realized was that he was very careful with his speech. And at a point in time, he mentioned that we have to be very careful and find a very good balance, because you have on one hand residents who are aggrieved because they've been assaulted by the military, and on the other hand also you have soldiers who are angry because their colleague has been killed in a gruesome manner. So we need to be very careful in walking this tightrope.
Okay, but what about the chairman of the Defense and Interior Committee, Kenneth Jupon, who was also there?
He says he has there's this perception about Ashaiman that it is the hub and the den of criminals. He says he has people who are very close to him who come from Ashaiman, and says that that perception is wrong. He says they cannot have the tendency of shielding culprits and perpetrators, and he says that is not good and they need to put a stop to it.
And you hear the way people speculate about Ashaiman, you think they are bad or evil people, but I can tell you, all my investment, the security guys are all from Ashaiman, including my house that I live. I know you are trustworthy people. That is why I've given you this kind of job. So I know you. But what I know also as a Ashaiman citizen is that sometimes we cover people. We know the people or we know the perpetrators and we all keep quiet. If we do that, innocent people, like what has happened to you last week, will happen. So
And that's the chairman of the Defense and Interior Committee in Parliament there, Ken Ejipon. I want to bring in right now Emmanuel Kumade, who is a lawyer for one of the lawyers for the victims and spokesperson for the Ashaiman Lives Matter. Also joining me is MP for the area, Ernest Nogbe, who himself was today present, and the ranking on the Defense and Interior Committee, James Agaga. Gentlemen, thank you for your time. Mr. Kumade, let me start with you. You're reporting today that that one of the victims may have died. We just had the doctor on the ground say that particular issue, the individual in question, there is a post-mortem that needs to be carried out first. Can you confirm that?
Yes, the information we have received indicates that
You need to be very
one of the Ashaiman Lives Matter. We have received an information, and I went to the house to verify myself, and I was informed that the victim has passed away, and he passed away 3 days ago. What happened was this: he was seated at the frontage of his house. The military people came, and they shouted and started chasing everybody around. So he ran to his house. He fell, and unfortunately, he had a high blood pressure condition. So his pressure went up, so he was rushed to the hospital. Unfortunately, he couldn't make it and passed on last 3 days.
And that has to be proving. And have you reported this formally to the authorities, because it has to be investigated and a link's established?
Because when the incident happened, naturally the family was distraught, and the person is a Muslim, so they have to quickly bury the person, the disease, and we're having family engagement since then. So when they heard that we are having a meeting today with the Minister for Defense and the Committee on Defense and Interior today, then the message was brought to us that one of the victims has passed on.
Stay with me, because this obviously is a major development, and that needs to be cleared up. The ranking on the Defense and Interior Committee, James Agaga, is with me and joins us now. Mr. Agaga, so you visited the ground today. What happens now?
Evans, your line is a bit faint. I hope you can hear me.
I can hear you loud and clear, sir.
Very well. Well, Evans, we honored our original plan to visit Ashaiman today, sometime last week. So this morning, the committee, together with the Minister for Defense and officers from his outfit, accompanied us to Ashaiman. And our first point of call was the residence of the deceased soldier who was slain a couple of days ago, Imuru Sheriff. We met with the family and relatives, and we interacted with them with condolence and assured them that the committee was going to continue to monitor closely how the investigation and the prosecution of the suspects who were rounded up by the police in connection with the murder of Imuru Sheriff will go. We assured them that we would take keen interest in the prosecution by the police and the state. Then, Evans, from there we proceeded to our next point of call, which was at a venue located in a church, I think the Pentecost Church around Taifa. I don't know Ashaiman too well, but in one of the suburbs of Ashaiman, we met the victims and their lawyer, former MPs, opinion leaders of Ashaiman. It was a huge gathering. Now, at that meeting, the lawyer of the victims spoke on behalf of all the victims. In fact, he spoke at length, narrated how the incident happened around 3:30 a.m. on the day that the soldier stormed Ashaiman. He gave us a vivid account of what actually happened and furnished us with evidence
including police extracts and medical forms that were issued out to some of the victims, which enabled them access, medical care. Now we are seized with all the documentation as a committee. And Evans, you remember that we earlier summoned the military high command and the Minister for Defense after the incident had happened in Ashaiman. So we are in the process of gathering important evidence and information which would afford the committee the opportunity to make recommendations, some of which would be directed at the executive arm of government, first of all, to ensure that the rights of the victims are respected within the confines of the law. So the visit to Ashaiman today was very productive. I think that, but for the visit, first of all, we wouldn't even have known that one of the victims passed on. It is early days yet. We, as a committee, we can't draw a nexus between the abuses the victims suffered, particularly the one who lost his life, and his unfortunate passing. It's early days yet, and so as we continue to work as a committee, I think certain findings of fact will be made, and when those findings of fact are made, we shall come out with our recommendations and conclusions. At the end of the day, Evan, one of the principal goals or objectives of the committee is to, first of all, restore the damage or try to repair the damage that has occasioned as a result of the attacks in Ashaiman by the military. I mean, look, the military is part of us. They have a mandate. The civilian populace needs them just as they need the civilian populace. So we would work to ensure that civil-military relations improve.
Do you have any timelines for when we can expect these recommendations to come and actions taking on them?
Protected.
I was asking earlier if you have any timelines for when we can expect the recommendations and actions taking on them.
Well, firm timelines, Evans, is early days yet. I don't want to sit here and on my own give timelines, but I can assure you we would work within a reasonable period of time, draw conclusions and submit a report.
Okay, thank you very much. That's the ranking on the Defense and Interior Committee. The Member of Parliament for Ashaiman, it's Ernest Nogbe, is on the line with me as well. Mr. Nogbe, I wonder if you've been briefed about the death that has been reported today and been linked to the brutalities last week.
Well, good evening to you and good evening to your listeners. Frankly speaking, I heard it this morning. I was not told initially, but when we got to the grounds, that was when I was alerted that somebody rushed into the meeting to say that one of the victims died. And as the lawyer of the victims are saying, or is saying, yes, we also heard it this morning that somebody died. And so I'm yet to even visit the family house to commiserate with that person.
So today, the Defense Interior Committee honored as well. The minister himself was there. There were specific demands that were made of him by the victims, and I know you've also made your own. Do you have any confirmation that any of the things you've asked for will be done, compensation, etc.? Have you had any movement on any of these since last week?
Well, not yet, but these are all legitimate requests that we are making, and as we went there today, documents and evidential documents were given to the committee, and so as the chairman has said, we are going to sit on it and then peruse it and make our necessary recommendations to that effect. And so for now, we haven't seen anything yet, we haven't heard anything yet. Until the committee meets, I'm unable to say whether some inroads were made. However, the issue of the perpetrators of the crime or those who sanction the military high command, whatever, should be dismissed. It should be left with the committee to also determine same. I always say that the gravity of offense may lead to the necessary sanctions that may be applied. And so all these things are on the table. The Shrad issue is also on the table, and we are pursuing all these avenues.
And the charge it's been quite a while now. When are you filing? I know this is something that you've been gathering the evidence to finally file.
Yes, it's because of the visitation of the committee today that has made us made us unable to file, because we were hoping that the committee will come today and probably we might have heard something good out of the meeting, which really we I should say that the chairman and then the minister have said something good. So sitting on the matter in the near future will determine whether we have to proceed to strike or not. Because as I said earlier, there were admissions that there were excesses. And since there were admissions of excesses, it means you have to know that people have acted outside the box. So compensation and other things must follow. So we are just waiting for that event. However, everything is made available, everything is set, the evidential document, the petition, everything is set. So any moment that we see that things are not going our way from the committee or any other level of the government, then we have to forward our petitions to SHRAD.
Okay, thank you very much. And Mr. Kumade, as lawyer for the victims, are you taking your own independent action on the back of everything else you've gathered?
As the MP for the constituency has rightly said, when the committee visited us, we want to give them the benefit of the doubt. And they said we should take their word and we trust them. So now we have options. We've shelved them for now. And if we don't hear any appropriate response from them, then we'll bring the options available and activate them.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kumade. Thank you, Ernest Nogbe, who is a Ashaiman MP. I want to hear from you if you were affected. 055-1111-997. News Night starts in a minute.
One gunner, pit. Just one gunner. Yo,
bro, I beg, make you give me correct shock absorber. Or make a do video concept, then take the Gaussian P for the engine show you.
Every morning you the tear calls, they browse. Actually, something they.
Hey, Tago, the way town make hot. I grow best one if you no po. If it be you where you get Vodafone 1 Ghana promo them out 20 minutes talk time to call all networks, where you start get data and 1 gig from 5 a.m. to 11:59 a.m. Bang. And can you go do pass me safe and you dial star 530 hash. Make we enjoy. You go fit subscribe as many times as you want.
Yes, plantain chips.
Yo, sweet Ama, take this by Vodafone 1 Ghana bundle. Moku vibe plus video calls and taste. You catch the vibe. Early morning, 5 a.m. sharp.
Vodafone, further together.
For Pepsodent, smiles are one of the most important things we have. The problem is, globally, 1 in 2 children suffer from cavities. Pepsodent, with maximum cavity protection, helps to prevent the formation of cavities. Pepsodent, because every smile matters. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Have you heard of the water tank that is durable, the water tank that is strong, the water tank that is reliable? Introducing Polystar Water Tank, the water tank with the star. Polystar also has PVC, PPR, HDPE and conduit pipes. So are you a contractor, plumber or even a house owner looking for quality products for your business or your home? Look for Polystar. Polystar Water Tank also comes in different sizes and weights at very affordable prices. Locate us at Tema Community 25 or call us on 0246 988544. Again, when you're looking for a water tank, look for the star. Polystar Water Tank. It's strong.
the next 60 minutes here on Newsnight. Fresh revelations paint harrowing tale of catastrophic failure of fighting systems following fire that ravaged Kumasi Kejetia market that left some traders trapped in higher floors plunging to the ground. The regional minister has been left fuming.
Certain things must be clarified. Why? One, why is it that the sprinkler did not switch on when the fire started? Two, why is it that the smoke detectors were not working?
We have the very latest for you as investigations open into the fire that swept through the market yesterday. Also tonight, Education Committee Chairman breaks ranks with governing party, joining protesters to demand on capping of the GET Fund.
GET Fund is the only dedicated fund that has been earmarked for the development of education in our country. Capping it to the extent of giving it about 17.5% in recent act, I think it's not the right thing.
We have details as protesters, including the executive director of the Africa Education Watch, demand that Parliament treat the matter with urgency.
Before Parliament will rise, they will consider GET Fund, and we are encouraging that they should reject the formula and insist that GET Fund is uncapped before they approve the formula. That condition is very, very important.
And in business, some oil marketing companies downplay significant impact of Gulf Oil program on fuel prices reduction at the pumps.
And in sports, we'll take you to the forecourt of the State House where final preparations are underway for former Black Stars player Christian Achu's final funeral rites.
All that plus more than 2 weeks after National Identification Authority promised it will print more than 500,000 outstanding cards in 11 days. We ask, has this been achieved?
The 100 million that was outstanding has been completely paid off, paving way for the conversation that will result in the release of cards for us to print the 541,529.
And thank you for joining us, and I want to hear from you tonight. Send me a WhatsApp 05511119997. And we are learning tonight that there was catastrophic failure of fighting systems at the Kejetia market yesterday when fire swept through that $250 million facility that was recently redeveloped. It's left the regional minister fuming. Also, you may have seen the harrowing videos of traders trapped in higher floors plunging to the ground. The Ashanti regional minister is tonight unhappy over the state of firefighting systems that were installed in the market after we spent millions of dollars that we had taken on loan to redevelop it. According to him, the sprinklers and the smoke detectors fixed at the market were more functioning during Wednesday's fire. Though the cause of the inferno is yet to be established, several properties have been destroyed. Naya Ojima was at the scene until the flame was doused and has this report.
It is alleged the fire started from a shop at a section of the market where combustibles are sold. Traders made attempts to stop the spread but were unsuccessful. According to the Ashanti Regional Director of NADMO, Frank Diodu, some materials exploded as the fire raged.
There was a fire incident which had burnt some quite a number of shops, which is not that much though to say. But the fire started from one shop and spread to the other shops. The very area that began the fire are areas where we find items being sold at cupboard, what do you call it, turpentine, catapults, which are all prone to fire. So when it started from one end, we got to the ground, we got to know they tried to put the situation down, but it got out of hand before they could call fire. There were explosions and all that, which we are yet together with fire to investigate, to know how the explosion came by.
Several fire tenders arrived at the scene to douse the flame. The security services and some traders aided the rescue of people trapped in the facility. Cranes of the construction firm contractor came in handy for the rescue efforts. An eyewitness narrates.
every third floor over down. And the third floor over down.
Until the contractors brought their cranes, they had tied a cloth from the third floor. With that, some people were descending from the top. The KJTR market has since been cordoned as security personnel patrol the enclave. Mr. Diodu says the fire service and other security agencies are expected to be in the market on Thursday to start investigations.
There has been a small discussion with management of the market. We've urged them to put out a publication out there. Activities for tomorrow at the market could not be carried out at the early hours of tomorrow. They are yet to come out, which we are recommending close to the midday. And even if the shops are open, we do also recommend that they will be closed up, then people will leave for proper works to be carried out.
For Joy News, Nana Ochima, Kumasi.
Well, the Ashanti Regional Minister, who also chairs the Regional Security Council, Ashaiman Mensah, has ordered the closure of the market so investigations can continue.
From my own point of view, I think a committee will be very necessary at this point, in the sense that we have to know certain things. Certain things must be clarified. Why? One, why is it that the sprinkler did not switch on when the fire started? Because the moment the fire started, the sprinkler should turn on automatically. Why didn't it happen that way? The people had to go. Two, why is it that the smoke detectors were not working? And if they did work, were they working effectively? Because at least the land should have been grown and then people should have escaped before those got out of hands. Then have they renewed their insurance this year? Because if they've not renewed, then it means that who is going to fund the losses? So you have to know whether the insurance has been renewed. You have to know whether the fire permit has been renewed. You have to know whether Environmental Protection Agency permit has been renewed. You have to look at all these relevant permits and make sure that if they have not been done, then subsequently we can take decisions, we can make recommendations such that these things will not happen again. Because if the insurance, for instance, has not been renewed, who is going to bear the cost? Are we going again to the government when we are all witnessing the economic difficulties in which we find ourselves? Are we going to the government to provide money? The escrow account, we have money in the escrow account.
You have always been briefed about happenings at the market.
Nobody has been briefing me. I'm not a member of the board. Before I intervene, then I have received complaints either from the shoppers or other related groups. Nobody. Go and ask the board whether they bring me ever.
But is that not surprising though?
I've told you already, we are not even a member of the board. We are not a member. Even site meetings, sometimes I know somebody recently even alerted them that, why have you not been inviting the regional minister to your site meetings? So if anybody tells you they brief, look, the composition of the board. Minister of Finance is a member. Local government is a member. We are here. Why is it that we are not members? If you use personalities to form boards, institutions, that is what happens.
Clearly, everything lies on your hands now. The traders are frustrated at the moment.
Yes.
What would be your immediate action to ensure that safety is adhered to?
We will look at the security aspects. We will make sure that we provide security for the area, so that whatever security risks we have, we will put in measures to mitigate the risk.
Well, the traders who are hardest hit by the disaster are accusing the management of the facility of negligence.
Some of the things that we had talked about, we have written to management, we have written to the board, we have talked about it on the media space. These are some of the things that we were complaining some months ago. David, is it not a wonder to you that just common battery to power the detective alarm system in the market has been down for the past 6 months or more? The smoke detective alarm system, even the alarm system within the market, that would have even triggered for somebody to know that this is what is happening around this area. It has been done for more than 6 months. We also know officially the market is not fire worthy because the Ghana National Fire Service have not issued fire certificate for the market since November 2021 till date.
Do you know why? Do you know why?
Yes.
What is the reason?
Because at leadership, we confronted management, we confronted the fire personnel within the market. They told us, and they gave us a report that one, they've recommended to the management that the fire couplings within the market, they use their technical terms, hermaphrodites. So the couplings within the market here and that of the Ghana National Fire Service, they cannot use the Ghana National Fire Service hose to get access to the couplings here in case of emergency for them to get